The Awakening. The dust of centuries settled on what remained of humanity's greatest achievement, the Sentinel Complex. Deep beneath the scorched ruins of what was once Seattle, the last fortress of Earth lay dormant, its systems running on the barest power necessary to maintain a single stasis chamber. Inside, Commander Ilara Reeves floated in suspended animation, unaware that 300 years had passed since the Drakari Armada had reduced Earth's major cities to ash and declared the planet quarantined. A tremor shook the complex, dislodging ancient debris. The facility's AI, NAEXUS, registered the disturbance and initiated emergency protocols. Power surged through forgotten circuits. The stasis chamber hummed to life, its blue glow cutting through darkness undisturbed for centuries. Revival sequence initiated. NAEXUS announced to an empty room. Subject vital signs stabilizing. Consciousness restoration at 30%. Inside the chamber, Ilara's eyes snapped open. Dark, confused, filled with the horror of memories still fresh to her mind. The bombardment. The screams. The final order to enter stasis while the rest of the command team launched a suicide mission against the Drakari flagship. She gasped as the chamber drained its preservation fluid, her augmented lungs struggling to remember how to breathe actual air. Commander Reeves, NAEXUS's voice was calm, almost gentle. Current date is October 17, 2507. You have been in stasis for 312 years. 47 days, 9 hours. Ilara collapsed to her knees when the chamber opened, coughing violently. Her body was intact, better than intact. During her sleep, nanites had repaired cellular damage, enhanced muscle density, and reinforced her skeleton with carbon composites. She was no longer just human. She was humanity's final weapon. Status report, she managed, her voice cracking from centuries of disuse. Earth remains under quarantine by Galactic Directive 773. Human population reduced to approximately 15,000 individuals living in scattered underground settlements. Planetary defense systems offline. Drakari occupation forces maintain 7 orbital stations and 3 ground bases. Ilara stood, taking unsteady steps toward the equipment locker that had been sealed alongside her. Inside was her Vanguard combat suit, the pinnacle of human military technology before the fall. As she suited up, each piece clicked into place, interfaces connecting directly to her enhanced nervous system. Why now? NAEXUS. Why wake me after 3 centuries? The AI projected a holographic display showing orbital scans, detecting unusual activity among Drakari forces. They appear to be evacuating. Current theory. They have discovered something that frightens them. Ilara laughed bitterly. The Drakari frightened. The 8-foot-tall reptilian warriors who had declared humanity too dangerous to exist in the galactic community were fleeing something. Show me the outside, she commanded. NAEXUS projected footage from surface cameras. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. The Seattle she remembered, towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, the gleaming space elevator, was gone. In its place was a forest. Massive trees had reclaimed the land, their roots breaking through concrete and steel. Between them, strange crystalline formations glowed with an ethereal blue light. What are those? Unknown, NAEXUS replied. They began appearing approximately 50 years ago. They emit radiation unlike anything in my database. The Drakari avoid them. Ilara finished equipping her suit, feeling its weight distribute perfectly across her enhanced frame. The helmet sealed with a hiss, HUD displays flickering to life before her eyes. Any human settlements nearby? Nearest settlement is designation Haven, located 42 kilometers northeast in what was once Redmond. Population approximately 300. Then that's where we start, Ilara said, checking her weapon systems. The pulse rifle powered up with a satisfying hum. We need allies. As she prepared to leave the bunker for the first time in 3 centuries, NAEXUS issued a warning. Commander, sensors detect approaching Drakari scout party. 3 units, heavily armed, on intercept course. Perfect, Ilara thought. Time to remind them why they feared us in the first place. She emerged from the hidden entrance of the complex into a world transformed. Ancient skyscrapers, half collapsed, served as trellises for massive vines. The air was cleaner than she remembered, filled with the scents of vegetation. And something else, something alien and electric. Her suit's sensors picked up the Drakari scouts before she saw them. 3 heat signatures moving through the undergrowth with military precision. They were searching for something, sweeping the area with detection equipment. Ilara activated her suit's stealth mode, the advanced metamaterials bending light around her form. The Drakari hadn't changed much in 3 centuries, still the same reptilian warriors, with their characteristic bone crests and armored exoskeletons. Their weapons, however, had evolved. Sleeker, probably more deadly. Ilara studied them through her scope. They were nervous, constantly checking their surroundings. One of them approached a blue crystal formation and quickly backed away when it pulsed in response. She decided on a direct approach. These weren't just invaders. They were the legacy of those who had nearly exterminated her species. Retribution was long overdue. Her first shot pierced the lead scout's helmet, dropping him instantly. The other 2 reacted with impressive speed, diving for cover and returning fire. Energy bolts scorched the trees around Ilara as she moved, her augmented muscles launching her between positions faster than the Drakari targeting systems could track. Her second shot caught another scout in the knee joint, disabling him. The third proved more challenging, deploying a drone that nearly spotted her position before she shot it down. Your species was declared extinct, the final Drakari called out in halting English. Surrender for study, human. Ilara dropped behind him, deactivating her stealth. We're harder to kill than you thought. The alien spun, but too late. Ilara's combat blade slid between armor plates, finding vital organs. As the creature collapsed, she retrieved its communication device. Neni XUS, can you translate their recent transmissions? Processing. The AI replied through her helmet. Most communications concern evacuation orders. They refer repeatedly to the awakening and crystal entities. They appear to believe Earth itself is transforming. Ilara looked at the blue crystal formation, which seemed to pulse in response to her attention. Maybe it is. She collected useful equipment from the fallen scouts and set course for Haven settlement. As she moved through the transformed landscape of her homeworld, she noticed more crystal formations emerging from the ground, like some vast network spreading beneath the surface. After traveling several hours, she encountered her first humans, hunters from Haven, armed with makeshift weapons and wearing patchwork armor. They stared at her advanced combat suit with awe and fear. "Are you from before?" asked their leader, an older woman with a weathered face and calculating eyes. "I am," Ilara replied, removing her helmet. "Commander Ilara Reeves, Earth Defense Force. I've been asleep a long time." The woman nodded slowly. "I'm Mira. We have stories about the guardians who sleep beneath the old cities. Never thought they were true." "Take me to your settlement," Ilara said. "There's much I need to learn." Haven was built within the ruins of a pre-war shopping complex, its walls reinforced with salvaged materials. Despite 3 centuries of struggle, humans had survived, adapted. Children played in communal areas. Gardens grew in what had once been parking lots. People had made a life in the shadow of extinction. The settlement's elder council received Ilara with a mixture of reverence and suspicion. They told her what they knew, how the survivors had hidden during the worst of the purge, how the Drakari had eventually lost interest in hunting down the remnants of humanity, content to maintain the quarantine and harvest Earth's resources. But things had changed in recent decades. The crystals had begun appearing, and with them came strange phenomena. Electronics malfunctioning near crystal clusters, unusual weather patterns, and most recently, Drakari forces hastily abandoning outposts they'd maintained for centuries. "They're afraid," said an elder named Thomas. "For the first time since they came, the lizards are afraid." That night, as Ilara processed everything she'd learned, an alarm sounded through the settlement. A Drakari patrol ship had been spotted, approaching fast. They must have tracked the scouts, Ilara realized, donning her helmet. Everyone to the shelters. As the people of Haven rushed to safety, Ilara prepared to face the threat alone. But as she reached the settlement's perimeter, she stopped in amazement. Massive crystal formations had emerged around Haven, far larger than any she'd seen before. They pulsed with internal light, creating a barrier between the settlement and the approaching Drakari ship. When the ship fired its weapons, the energy bolts struck the crystal formation and were absorbed. Then, incredibly, the crystals redirected the energy skyward in a brilliant beam that sliced through the Drakari vessel, cutting it in half. As the wreckage crashed into the forest, Ilara stared at the crystal formation. For a moment, just a moment, she thought she saw a pattern within the light, a face of sorts, observing her with ancient eyes. "Nene-xus," she whispered, "what are we dealing with here?" "Insufficient data," the AI responded. "But hypothesis. Earth is not just fighting back, Commander. It's evolving." Ilara watched as the crystal receded into the ground, leaving no trace of its presence. The battle for Earth's future was just beginning, and it would not be fought alone. Retribution. Dawn broke over Haven's settlement 3 days after the crystal entities had destroyed the Drakari patrol ship. Ilara stood at the highest point of the settlement, watching as more blue crystal formations emerged throughout the forest. They seemed to be communicating, pulses of light passing between them like signals. "Ne-xus analysis," she asked her AI companion. "The crystal network has expanded 27% since yesterday," Ne-xus replied. "Energy readings suggest they're forming a lattice structure beneath the surface. They appear to be preparing. For what? Unknown." Mira approached, carrying a makeshift map. "The scouts report 3 more settlements have made contact. Word of your return is spreading, Commander. People are calling you the Lost Guardian." Ilara grimaced. "I'm no guardian. I was just the one they put on ice while everyone else died fighting." "You're a symbol," Mira countered. "For 3 centuries, we've survived without hope. Now we have both you and whatever these crystals are. People believe again." Their conversation was interrupted by shouts from the perimeter. A group of humans approached, not from any settlement, but wearing the unmistakable armor of Drakari thralls, humans who served the occupiers. Ilara moved to confront them, her hand on her weapon. Their leader, a scared man with augmented eyes, raised his hands in peace. "I am Kel, formerly of Outpost 7, he announced. "We bring news. The Drakari are not just evacuating. They're abandoning the entire sector. Something has them terrified." "Why would their servants come to us?" Ilara asked suspiciously. "Because we're free now," Kel replied. "And because the Drakari commander told us something before he fled. The Galactic Council has authorized the purification protocol for Earth." Ilara felt cold dread settle in her stomach. "Explain." "They're going to sterilize the planet. A fleet of sanitizer ships is already on its way. Massive vessels designed to render worlds uninhabitable. They'll be here in 5 days." That evening, representatives from 7 human settlements gathered in Haven's central hall, 300 of the last humans on Earth, planning their final stand. The thralls brought valuable intelligence, locations of abandoned Drakari outposts with functional equipment, access codes, and most importantly, the existence of an orbital defense platform that had been deactivated but not destroyed. "If we can reactivate it," Ilara explained to the assembly, "we might have a chance against the sanitizer fleet. But we'll need to reach the Drakari ground base at Mount Rainier to uplink the activation codes." "The mountain is surrounded by crystal formations," Kel warned. "Denser than anywhere else on the continent. They've been acting, strangely, aggressive." Ilara made her decision. I'll lead a team to the mountain base. Mira, organize salvage teams to collect whatever technology you can from the abandoned outposts. Kel, I need everything you know about the sanitizer fleet's weaknesses. As the meeting dispersed, Ilara found herself drawn to the largest crystal formation near Haven. Standing before it, she felt a strange resonance, as if it was attempting to communicate. "Can you understand me?" she asked softly. The crystal pulsed, and suddenly Ilara's mind was flooded with images. Earth from space, surrounded by a glowing blue lattice, the Drakari ships fleeing, and deep beneath the surface, something vast awakening from slumber far older than humanity itself. She gasped, staggering backward as the connection broke. "Neni xus, I think Earth itself is alive, or something inside it is." "Fascinating hypothesis," the AI responded. "The crystal formations may be external manifestations of an entity that has existed within Earth's core for millions of years, perhaps dormant until recent events triggered its awakening." The next morning, Ilara led a team of 20, the best fighters from each settlement and former thralls, toward Mount Rainier. The journey took them through forests increasingly dominated by crystal formations, some towering hundreds of feet high. As they approached the abandoned Drakari base, they discovered why the aliens had fled in such haste. Crystal spires had erupted through the facility's foundations, impaling structures and vehicles with perfect precision. Yet when Ilara's team approached, the crystals seemed to withdraw slightly, creating a path. "They're helping us," whispered one of the Haven fighters. Inside the damaged facility, they found what they needed, the control center mostly intact, with access to the orbital systems. While NEXUS worked to reactivate the defense platform, Ilara explored deeper into the base, drawn by a pulsing blue light emanating from what had been the Drakari research section. There, she found something unexpected: a Drakari scientist, the last of its kind on Earth, working frantically at a console surrounded by crystal samples. "You," it hissed when it saw her. "Human, you don't understand what you've done." "What I've done?" Ilara raised her weapon. "Your people tried to exterminate mine. To prevent this," the Drakari gestured at the crystals, "we found the signs when we first arrived. The Ancient One sleeps within your world. We thought quarantine would be enough to contain it, but your species' activities, your wars, your nuclear tests, they disturbed its slumber." Understanding dawned on Ilara. The invasion wasn't about humanity being dangerous to the galaxy. It was about something on Earth that you feared. "The Ancient Ones destroyed civilizations before your ancestors climbed down from trees," the Drakari scientist continued. "They consume worlds, Commander. Your Earth is just its cocoon." Before Ilara could respond, crystal spikes erupted through the floor, impaling the scientist with horrifying precision. As it died, the crystals began to pulse faster, more intensely. "Nen Ixuyas," Ilara called urgently. "What's the status on the defense platform?" "Online, Commander. However, sensors detect the sanitizer fleet has arrived ahead of schedule. They are already in the outer solar system." Ilara rushed back to the control center, where her team had managed to establish a visual of the approaching fleet. Massive black ships, unlike anything in Drakari design, moving with inexorable purpose toward Earth. "Those aren't Drakari," Kel said, his augmented eyes focusing on the images. "Those are Galactic Council enforcers, planet killers." As they watched, the defense platform engaged, its ancient weapons firing at the lead ships. 2 sanitizers exploded in brilliant flashes, but there were dozens more, and they didn't alter course. It's not enough, Ilara realized. The ground beneath them began to tremble. Crystal formations throughout the facility pulsed in unison, and Ilara felt that strange connection again, stronger this time, almost overwhelming. "Everyone out," she ordered. "Back to the surface." They'd barely escaped before the entire facility was engulfed in crystal, becoming part of the vast network that now covered much of the continent. From their vantage point on the mountainside, they watched in awe as massive crystal spires erupted from the ground across the landscape, stretching skyward. Commander, Exiled reported, detecting massive energy buildup throughout the crystal network. It appears to be channeling power from Earth's core. In orbit, the Sanitizer fleet launched their first attack, planet cracker missiles designed to shatter Earth's crust. But before they could impact, the crystal network responded. Beams of blue energy shot skyward from every formation on the planet, converging in the upper atmosphere to form a shield. The missiles exploded harmlessly against it. Then, incredibly, the crystal energy coalesced into massive tendrils that reached out into space, grasping the Sanitizer ships one by one, crushing them like insects. "My God," whispered Mira beside Ilara. "What is it?" "Earth's immune system," Ilara replied, understanding at last. "The planet isn't just fighting back, it's evolving to protect itself, and us with it." Within hours, the Sanitizer fleet was destroyed, their wreckage orbiting Earth like a new ring system. The crystal formations began to recede, not disappearing entirely, but settling into a new configuration across the planet's surface. Watchful, protective. In the days that followed, as humanity began to rebuild with new purpose, Ilara returned to the crystal formation near Haven. This time, when she approached, a humanoid figure emerged from the crystal, not solid, but formed from light and energy. "You are the Guardian," it said, its voice resonating directly in Ilara's mind. "The last defender." "What are you?" she asked. "I am this world's consciousness. I have slept for eons, dreaming. Your species' pain awakened me. Your struggle moved me. The Drakari said you would consume our world." The entity pulsed with what might have been amusement. They feared what they did not understand. "I am not your destroyer. I am becoming part of you, as you have become part of me. This world will be reborn, neither fully human nor fully mine, but something new." "And the galaxy?" Ilara asked. "Will they leave us alone now?" "They will fear us," the entity replied. "As they should. But in time, they will understand that fear was never necessary. Earth does not seek conquest, only its rightful place among the stars." As the entity receded back into the crystal, Ilara gazed up at the night sky, where the debris of the Sanitizer fleet glittered like a warning. Humanity had nearly been extinguished, but in its darkest hour had found an unexpected ally. The lost Guardian had awakened, but so had Earth itself, and the stars would never look at their little blue world the same way again.